Top 20 celebrities that went to prison, 2025 update.
Quit playing. I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
Attention all fame watchers, what happens when Hollywood's brightest stars trade designer suits for prison jumpsuits? From shocking crimes to jaw-dropping scandals, these stories will leave you speechless. You've seen the glitz and glam, now discover the dark secrets behind the fame. Who fell from grace and why? Stick around because Iconic Inside is diving deep into the celebrities who swapped red carpets for cold, hard cells. Are you ready to uncover the truth? Let's get started. Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, once celebrated as the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history, experienced a tumultuous career marked by both athletic triumph and personal controversy. Known for his ferocious fighting style and iconic victories, Tyson's career began to unravel in 1991 when he was convicted of rape. The charges stemmed from an incident involving Desiree Washington, a Miss Black America contestant, in an Indianapolis hotel room. On February 10, 1992, Tyson was sentenced to 6 years in prison and 4 years of probation. He served his sentence at the Indiana Youth Center, now the Plainfield Correctional Facility, and was released in March 1995 after serving 3 years. During his incarceration, Tyson converted to Islam, adopting the name Malik Abdulaziz. He spent much of his time reading philosophy, studying the Quran, and reflecting on his life. His behavior in prison was reported as cooperative, and he was credited with good conduct, leading to his early release. Post-release, Tyson attempted to reclaim his boxing career, achieving moderate success, but failing to reach his prior dominance. In recent years, Tyson has pivoted to business ventures, including a successful cannabis company and a popular podcast, Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson. He has openly discussed his past mistakes, stating in a 2024 interview, "Prison taught me humility. I'm not proud of my actions, but I've tried to grow from them." Tyson's journey is a complex narrative of redemption, as he continues to advocate for mental health awareness and personal accountability while rebuilding his legacy. Amy Locane. Amy Locane, best known for her roles in the 1992 film Cry Baby, alongside Johnny Depp, and the television series Melrose Place, faced a dramatic fall from grace due to her involvement in a tragic car accident. On June 27, 2010, Locane was driving under the influence when she collided with another vehicle in Montgomery Township, New Jersey, killing Helene Seaman and severely injuring Seaman's husband, Fred. Locane's blood alcohol level was nearly 3 times the legal limit at the time of the crash. In November 2012, Locane was convicted of vehicular homicide and assault by auto. She was initially sentenced to 3 years in prison, a term that sparked widespread criticism for its perceived leniency. After multiple appeals and resentencing hearings, Locane ultimately served over 8 years, spending time at the Edna Mahan Correctional Facility for Women in New Jersey. During her incarceration, Locane participated in substance abuse programs and worked to educate others about the dangers of drunk driving. In a 2025 interview, she expressed deep remorse, stating, "Not a day goes by that I don't think about the Seaman family and the pain I've caused. I'm committed to making amends however I can." Since her release, Locane has focused on rebuilding her life, working with advocacy groups to raise awareness about DUI consequences. She has largely stayed out of the spotlight, emphasizing her dedication to sobriety and community service as she works toward personal redemption. Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein, a once powerful Hollywood producer behind films like Pulp Fiction and Shakespeare in Love, saw his career collapse amidst numerous allegations of sexual misconduct. In October 2017, investigative reports revealed decades of accusations against Weinstein, sparking the #MeToo movement. By 2020, Weinstein was convicted in New York on charges of third-degree rape and a first-degree criminal sexual act. On March 11, 2020, he was sentenced to 23 years in prison. Weinstein initially served his sentence at Rikers Island before being transferred to the Venda Correctional Facility in New York. During his incarceration, Weinstein faced additional charges in Los Angeles related to sexual assault allegations, leading to further legal battles. In February 2023, he was convicted of 3 additional counts of rape and sexual assault in California. adding a 16-year sentence to his existing prison term. Weinstein's time in prison has been marked by health issues, including heart problems and spinal conditions, which he cited during court appearances. Despite appeals, his convictions have been upheld, and he remains incarcerated. Weinstein has consistently denied all allegations, claiming his encounters were consensual. As of 2025, Weinstein's influence in Hollywood is irrevocably destroyed. His case remains a pivotal moment in the fight against sexual harassment and abuse of power. A former colleague remarked, "Harvey's downfall isn't just his story, it's a reckoning for the entire industry." Ryan Grantham. Ryan Grantham, a former Canadian actor known for his roles in Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Riverdale, faced a shocking legal case that upended his career. On March 31, 2020, Grantham was arrested for the second-degree murder of his mother, Barbara Waite. The incident occurred at their home in Squamish, British Columbia, where Grantham, then 21 years old, shot Waite in the back of the head while she played the piano. Following the murder, Grantham recorded a video confession and detailed his plans to commit further violence, including plotting to harm public figures. In March 2022, Grantham pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. On September 22, 2022, he was sentenced to life in prison with eligibility for parole after 14 years. He is currently incarcerated at a federal facility in British Columbia. During sentencing, the court acknowledged Grantham's struggles with mental health, including depression and suicidal ideation, which had been untreated at the time of the crime. In prison, Grantham has reportedly engaged in therapy and mental health programs aimed at addressing his psychological issues. A statement from his lawyer emphasized his remorse. Ryan deeply regrets his actions and is committed to understanding the consequences of his crime. Grantham remains incarcerated and has largely retreated from the public eye. The tragic case serves as a grim reminder of the consequences of untreated mental illness and the devastating impact it can have on families. His former co-stars and fans have expressed shock and sadness over the incident. Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr., celebrated for his roles in Iron Man and Sherlock Holmes, endured a highly publicized battle with addiction that derailed his career in the late 1990s. Downey's legal troubles began in 1996 when he was arrested in Malibu for possession of heroin, cocaine, and an unloaded firearm. Despite multiple stints in rehab, his struggles continued, culminating in a 1999 arrest after missing a court-ordered drug test. He was sentenced to 3 years in the California Substance Abuse Treatment Facility and State Prison in Corcoran, but served roughly 1 year, being released in 2000 due to good behavior and overcrowding. In prison, Downey focused on rehabilitation, working in the kitchen and attending group therapy sessions. He later credited this period as a turning point in his life, saying, "Jail was the harshest lesson I could have received. It broke me down to rebuild me." Despite his release, he faced further relapses and arrests before finally achieving sobriety in 2003. Downey's comeback is one of Hollywood's most inspiring stories. He earned widespread acclaim and financial success with his portrayal of Tony Stark in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a role that began in 2008 and redefined his career. Downey has since become an advocate for recovery, helping to destigmatize addiction through interviews and philanthropy. As of 2025, Downey remains a symbol of resilience and redemption. Beyond acting, he focuses on environmental initiatives through his Footprint Coalition and continues to inspire others by sharing his story of overcoming adversity and embracing accountability. Join me on this journey and let's explore together. Comment number 1 to let me know you'll be watching till the end. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming up in this video. Skyler Delon. Skyler Delon, a former child actor who appeared in the 1990s series Power Rangers, is infamous for his involvement in one of California's most chilling murder cases. Delon, alongside accomplices, orchestrated the 2004 murder of Tom and Jackie Hawkes, a couple selling their yacht to steal their assets. Under the guise of purchasing the yacht, Delon and the group forced the couple to sign over ownership documents before tying them to an anchor and throwing them overboard alive off the coast of Newport Beach. The case shocked the nation as investigators uncovered Delon's financial struggles and history of fraud, which included forging military documents. Arrested in 2005, Delon was convicted of first-degree murder in 2008 and sentenced to death. The trial revealed his manipulative nature and lack of remorse, with the court emphasizing the premeditated and brutal nature of the crime. Delon is currently on death row at San Quentin State Prison in California. His time in prison has been marked by isolation and limited interaction with other inmates. In an interview, he admitted his crimes but blamed his troubled upbringing and alleged abuse for his actions, a claim that failed to garner sympathy. Delon remains a controversial figure with legal appeals underway but little chance of overturning his conviction. The murder of the Hawks couple continues to serve as a cautionary tale of betrayal and greed. Survivors and advocates for the victims remember Tom and Jackie as a loving couple whose lives were tragically cut short. Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart, a domestic icon celebrated for her lifestyle empire, found herself at the center of a highly publicized legal drama in the early 2000s. The founder of Martha Stewart Living Omnimedia was accused of insider trading after selling her shares in ImClone Systems based on non-public information. This transaction occurred just before the company's stock value plummeted, triggering an investigation by federal authorities. In March 2004, Stewart was convicted of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and making false statements to investigators. She was sentenced to 5 months in federal prison, 5 months of home confinement, and 2 years of supervised release. Stewart served her prison term at the Federal Correctional Institution in Alderson, West Virginia, often referred to as Camp Cupcake. During her incarceration, she maintained a low profile, reportedly teaching yoga to fellow inmates and engaging in craft projects, which underscored her resourcefulness. Upon release in March 2005, Stewart wasted no time revitalizing her career. She re-entered the public sphere with determination, launching new television programs and expanding her brand into home goods, food products, and publishing. Reflecting on her experience, she commented, "I've learned that resilience and integrity are critical, even in the face of great challenges." Stewart's ability to rebuild her reputation highlighted her entrepreneurial spirit and adaptability. Today, her legacy includes not only her business achievements but also her embodiment of reinvention, as she continues to inspire audiences with her creativity and expertise in homemaking and beyond. Joe Sun. Joe Sun, a former mixed martial artist and actor best known for his role in the film Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery, fell from public favor due to his involvement in a harrowing criminal case. In 2008, Sun was charged with participating in the brutal gang rape and torture of a woman on Christmas Eve in 1990. The case resurfaced after a DNA match linked him to the crime during an unrelated probation violation investigation. In 2011, Sun was convicted of felony torture and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The court proceedings revealed the extent of the trauma inflicted on the victim, who testified about the psychological and physical scars she endured. The verdict underscored the severity of Sun's actions and the long-lasting impact on those affected. Sun's time in prison has been marked by further controversy. In October 2011, he was accused of murdering his cellmate Michael Thomas Graham, who had been serving time for a parole violation. Reports indicated that Graham was found dead, with signs of violent assault, and Sun was subsequently charged with the crime. He was later convicted of voluntary manslaughter in 2017, adding another 27 years to his life sentence. Sun's descent into infamy serves as a grim reminder of the consequences of unchecked violence and criminal behavior. His former career in entertainment has been completely overshadowed by his egregious acts, leaving behind a legacy marred by brutality and legal infamy. O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson, a former NFL star and actor, is infamous for his involvement in one of the most sensational trials in American history. Simpson rose to fame as a record-breaking running back and later transitioned to acting, starring in films like the Naked Gun series. However, his life took a dark turn in 1994 when he was accused of murdering his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman, outside her Los Angeles home. The 1995 trial, dubbed the Trial of the Century, ended with Simpson's acquittal, though he was later found liable for the deaths in a civil trial and ordered to pay $33.5 million in damages. The legal battles left his reputation tarnished, and public opinion remained divided. In 2008, Simpson faced further legal trouble when he was convicted of armed robbery and kidnapping after attempting to retrieve sports memorabilia he claimed was stolen from him. The incident occurred at a Las Vegas hotel, and Simpson was sentenced to 33 years in prison with the possibility of parole after 9 years. He served his time at the Lovelock Correctional Center in Nevada and was granted parole in 2017. Since his release, Simpson has maintained a low profile, occasionally making headlines for his social media presence. Reflecting on his incarceration, Simpson has stated, "I've tried to move forward, staying out of trouble and focusing on family." His legacy remains a complex mix of athletic greatness, overshadowed by legal and personal controversies. Zara Fitzpatrick. Zara Fitzpatrick, a British martial artist and actress known for her role in Doctor Strange, faced a dramatic fall from grace in 2022. She and her husband, Victor Mark, were convicted of sexually abusing a teenage girl. Nottingham Crown Court found Fitzpatrick guilty of 14 counts of sexual activity with a child between 2005 and 2008, while Mark was convicted of the same 14 offences, along with 4 further charges related to indecently assaulting another girl in 2002 and 2003. Fitzpatrick received an 8-year sentence, and Mark was sentenced to 14 years. Both were placed on the sex offenders register and subjected to a sexual harm prevention order. Fitzpatrick served her sentence at HMP Foston Hall. During the trial, the victim detailed the systematic abuse she endured, describing how the couple groomed and manipulated her. Fitzpatrick maintained her innocence throughout the proceedings, with her lawyer arguing that the accusations were fabricated. However, the jury ultimately sided with the prosecution, which presented compelling evidence of the couple's predatory behavior. Fitzpatrick's prison experience has been largely kept out of the public eye. As of 2025, Fitzpatrick has been released from prison. Her future plans and prospects remain uncertain. The damage to her career and reputation is severe, and the long-term impact of her conviction continues to unfold. These are the sort of cases that simply stay with you, a source close to the case noted, reflecting on the gravity of the offences and their lasting repercussions. Shawn Combs. Shawn Combs, the renowned rapper, producer and entrepreneur, has faced serious legal challenges in recent years, impacting his extensive career, marked by successes with artists like the Notorious Big and Mary J. Blige. As of December 29, 2024, Combs is incarcerated at the Metropolitan Detention Center, Brooklyn, without bond. He faces charges related to sex trafficking, kidnapping, drugging and coercing women into sexual activities, sometimes involving firearms and threats of violence. These allegations are detailed in several sources, including BBC News reports. Combs has been denied bail multiple times, with accusations of attempting to contact witnesses from jail. Beyond the aforementioned charges, Combs is also embroiled in a separate legal battle. An Alabama woman has accused him and Jay-Z of raping her when she was 13. A federal judge recently ruled that the woman can proceed anonymously with her lawsuit. This legal proceeding is ongoing as of December 2024. Combs has consistently denied all charges against him. However, the gravity of the allegations and his ongoing incarceration have significantly impacted his public image and career. His legal representation has maintained his innocence, but the legal proceedings are complex and expected to continue into 2025 and beyond. No statement from Combs directly addressing the charges is publicly available as of December 29, 2024. The situation remains fluid, and the outcomes of these legal battles will undoubtedly shape the next chapter of Combs' life and career. Do you think the severity of the allegations against Shawn Combs warrants his denial of bail? Comment below with yes or no and share your thoughts on the situation. Ian Watkins. Ian Watkins, former lead singer of the Welsh rock band Lost Prophets, was a prominent figure in the early 2000s alternative rock scene. His career came to an abrupt end in December 2013 when he was sentenced to 29 years in prison, plus 6 years on extended license for a series of horrific sex offences against children. including the attempted rape of a baby. He also pleaded guilty to charges involving indecent images of children and possessing an extreme pornographic image involving an animal. The offences occurred between 2007 and 2012. Initially held at HM Prison Park in Bridgend, Wales, Watkins was later transferred to HM Prison Wakefield in West Yorkshire. Watkins' crimes shocked the music world and his former bandmates, who expressed their disgust and immediately disbanded Lost Prophets. The trial revealed the disturbing extent of Watkins' predatory behavior, facilitated by two female accomplices who were also sentenced to lengthy prison terms. During sentencing, Mr. Justice Royce described Watkins as a committed, organized paedophile and the case as breaking new ground in its depravity. Any decent person will experience shock, revulsion, and incredulity, the judge stated. While incarcerated, Watkins received an additional 10-month sentence in 2019 for possession of a mobile phone. In August 2023, he was reportedly stabbed by fellow inmates at HMP Wakefield, though his injuries were not life-threatening. Today, Watkins remains incarcerated. His parole eligibility begins in 2031, after serving 2/3 of his 29-year term. R. Kelly. R. Kelly, the Grammy-winning artist behind hits like I Believe I Can Fly and Ignition Remix, experienced a dramatic fall from grace due to decades of allegations involving sexual misconduct and abuse. Once celebrated as an R&B icon, Kelly's career became overshadowed by mounting accusations of exploiting underage girls and young women. His legal troubles culminated in his 2019 arrest on federal charges, including child pornography, racketeering, and sex trafficking. In 2021, Kelly was convicted in New York on 9 counts of racketeering and violations of the Mann Act, which prohibits the transportation of individuals for illegal sexual activity. Witness testimonies painted a horrifying picture of systematic abuse, manipulation, and exploitation spanning decades. In June 2022, he was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison. Kelly also faced separate charges in Chicago, where he was convicted in 2022 of producing child pornography and enticing minors into illegal sexual acts, resulting in an additional 20-year sentence, some of which will run consecutively. Kelly is incarcerated at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago, where reports suggest he has struggled with the adjustment to prison life. He continues to deny all wrongdoing and has filed appeals against his convictions, but public opinion remains overwhelmingly critical. His victims have expressed relief at his sentencing, viewing it as long overdue justice. Once a towering figure in the music industry, Kelly's legacy is now irreparably tarnished. His case has spurred broader conversations about accountability, power dynamics in the entertainment industry, and the importance of protecting survivors of abuse. War Machine. War Machine, born Jonathan Paul Koppenhaver, is a former professional mixed martial artist known for competing in Bellator and the UFC. His promising career in combat sports was overshadowed by a violent incident that led to his downfall. In 2014, War Machine brutally assaulted his ex-girlfriend, adult film actress Christy Mack, and her friend Corey Thomas in her Las Vegas home. The attack left Mack with severe injuries, including broken bones, missing teeth, and a ruptured liver. Koppenhaver fled after the assault, prompting a nationwide manhunt before being apprehended in California. During his 2017 trial, he faced 34 felony charges, including kidnapping, sexual assault, and attempted murder. The jury found him guilty of 29 charges, and he was sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 36 years. While incarcerated at High Desert State Prison in Nevada, Koppenhaver has expressed remorse for his actions in various interviews. He has attributed his violent behavior to untreated mental health issues and a history of abusive relationships. He wrote in a 2018 letter, "I hate the man I became, and I'm determined to never let him exist again." Despite his statements, the severity of his crimes has left little room for public sympathy. Mack has become an advocate for domestic violence survivors, using her experience to raise awareness and support others. Koppenhaver's case remains a cautionary tale of unchecked aggression and the devastating consequences of domestic abuse. His once promising career is now defined by his criminal actions. Mark Walberg. Mark Walberg, now a celebrated actor and producer known for films like The Departed and Boogie Nights, has a past marked by criminal activity during his youth. Growing up in Boston, Walberg faced numerous legal troubles, including charges of assault and violence. At the age of 16, he committed a racially motivated attack on 2 Vietnamese men, an incident that would later haunt him, despite his rise to stardom. In 1988, Walberg was charged with assault and attempted murder after striking one man with a wooden stick and punching another in an unprovoked attack. One of the victims, Johnny Trin, was left partially blind in one eye. Walberg pleaded guilty to felony assault and was sentenced to 2 years in prison, though he served only 45 days at the Deer Island House of Correction in Massachusetts. Following his release, Walberg made a concerted effort to turn his life around. He first found fame as the frontman of Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, before transitioning to acting, where he achieved critical and commercial success. Reflecting on his troubled past, Walberg has acknowledged his mistakes, stating, "I did terrible things I deeply regret, and I've spent my life trying to make amends." In recent years, Walberg has focused on philanthropy, particularly through his Mark Walberg Youth Foundation, which supports at-risk youth. While his criminal past remains a blemish on his record, his journey of redemption underscores his commitment to personal growth and accountability. Joe Exotic, born Joseph Allen Maldonado Passage, rose to fame as the flamboyant operator of the Greater Wynwood Exotic Animal Park in Oklahoma and the star of Netflix's hit series Tiger King Murder, Mayhem and Madness. Known for his eccentric personality and love of big cats, Exotic's fame turned to infamy when he became embroiled in a plot to murder his rival, animal rights activist Carol Baskin. In 2019, Exotic was convicted on multiple charges, including 2 counts of murder for hire and 17 federal charges of animal abuse under the Endangered Species Act. Prosecutors alleged that Exotic paid 2 individuals to kill Baskin, though neither followed through with the plan. Additionally, he was found guilty of euthanizing tigers at his zoo to make room for other animals and selling cubs in violation of federal law. He was sentenced to 22 years in federal prison. While incarcerated, Exotic continued to proclaim his innocence, launching numerous appeals and even seeking a presidential pardon. In 2021, a federal court reduced his sentence to 21 years following a resentencing hearing. Exotic also revealed he had been diagnosed with cancer, prompting renewed public interest in his case. Despite his incarceration, Exotic remains a controversial figure. He has leveraged his notoriety to maintain a social media presence and release merchandise. Reflecting on his time in prison, he stated, "I may be in here, but my voice is louder than ever." His story, marked by ambition, rivalry, and legal downfall, continues to captivate audiences worldwide. DMX. DMX, born Earl Simmons, was a legendary rapper and actor whose gritty lyrics and raw energy earned him a devoted following. Rising to fame in the late 1990s with hits like Rough Riders Anthem and Party Up Up in Here, DMX was one of the most iconic figures in hip-hop. However, his career was often overshadowed by legal troubles and personal struggles, including addiction and financial issues. In 2017, DMX was arrested on charges of tax evasion after the federal government alleged he had concealed millions of dollars in income to avoid paying $1.7 million in taxes. Prosecutors accused him of using cash transactions and accounts in other people's names to evade financial obligations. Simmons pleaded guilty to 1 count of tax fraud and in 2018 was sentenced to 1 year in federal prison. He served his time at FCI Gilmer in West Virginia and was released in January 2019. During his incarceration, DMX reportedly sought to focus on personal growth and spirituality, which had long been central themes in his music. Upon his release, he expressed a desire to reunite with his family and return to the studio. Speaking about his experience, he said, "I learned to be more mindful of how I move and take responsibility for my actions." Tragically, DMX passed away in April 2021 after suffering a heart attack caused by a drug overdose. His death highlighted the struggles he faced throughout his life, but his legacy as a trailblazing artist and cultural icon remains enduring. Jared Fogle. Jared Fogle, once a recognizable face synonymous with Subway's weight loss success stories, is now a convicted sex offender serving a 15-year, 8-month federal prison sentence. Fogle rose to fame in 2000 after losing a significant amount of weight, attributing his success to a diet incorporating Subway sandwiches. This led to a lucrative endorsement deal, turning him into the Subway guy, a ubiquitous presence in the company's advertising campaigns for 15 years. Fogle's public image crumbled in 2015 when he was investigated by the FBI and subsequently charged with distributing and receiving child pornography and engaging in commercial sex acts with minors. He pleaded guilty to these charges in November 2015. The investigation also revealed his involvement with the Jared Foundation, ostensibly aimed at combating childhood obesity, but which prosecutors alleged was used as a front for his illicit activities. He was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in federal prison, fined $225,000, and ordered to pay $1.4 million in restitution to his victims. He is currently incarcerated at the Federal Correctional Institution, Englewood in Colorado. His earliest possible release date is July 11th, 2029. Fogle's case shocked the public and severely damaged Subway's brand image, forcing the company to swiftly terminate its relationship with him. His true colors are disgusting and repulsive, a source close to the case remarked, underscoring the sense of betrayal felt by those who once admired him. The case also brought renewed attention to the issue of child exploitation and the importance of vigilance in protecting vulnerable individuals. 15 famous gay celebrities who died of AIDS.
Lead singer Freddie Mercury, who died last night of AIDS. There have been tributes to his talent and his courage from friends and from fans.
Some of the brightest stars in entertainment left us far too soon, their lives cut short by a disease shrouded in fear and stigma. Icons like Freddie Mercury, Rock Hudson, and Pedro Zamora dazzled the world with their talent. But what tragic truth connects them? In this video, we're uncovering the untold stories of 15 legendary gay celebrities who battled AIDS, leaving behind legacies that changed culture forever. Who were they, and how did their lives and deaths impact the fight against this devastating epidemic? Stay tuned as we honor their brilliance and their bravery. Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury, Queen's electrifying lead singer, was far more than an ordinary vocalist. He was a musical icon. Born Farrokh Bulsara in Zanzibar, his path to fame was as vibrant as his on-stage persona. Renowned for his dynamic 4-octave vocal range and extravagant charisma, he mesmerized audiences around the globe. Mercury's personal life often sparked curiosity, though he never publicly addressed his sexuality. Close friends, however, were aware of it. Among his significant relationships was one with Mary Austin, whom he regarded as his soulmate. Although their romantic relationship ended, Mercury received a harrowing HIV diagnosis in 1987, a truth he chose to keep private. He continued to embrace life and create music, finding companionship in Jim Hutton, a hairdresser who stayed by his side until his final days. In his later years, Mercury poured his energy into his art, contributing to Queen's albums including Innuendo, released in 1991. His final on-screen appearance was in the music video for These Are the Days of Our Lives, where he appeared visibly weakened but remained spirited. On November 23, 1991, Mercury publicly disclosed his AIDS diagnosis. Tragically, just one day later, on November 24th, he succumbed to bronchopneumonia, a complication of AIDS. The music industry grieved the loss of one of its most luminous talents. Mercury's influence extends far beyond his music. The Mercury Phoenix Trust, founded in his honor, has been combating AIDS on a global scale since 1992. Wade Dominguez. Wade Dominguez was a rising star in Hollywood whose journey was tragically cut short. Born on May 10, 1966, in Santa Clara County, California, Dominguez's mixed Mexican and French heritage gave him a distinctive and captivating appearance that later became an asset in his career. Before making his mark in acting, he started as a go-go dancer in nightclubs. While not the most glamorous beginning, it allowed him to showcase his passion for dance and performance, skills that would later benefit his work in front of the camera. His breakthrough came in 1995 with the film Dangerous Minds, where he portrayed Emilio Ramirez, a rebellious student softened by the influence of Michelle Pfeiffer's character. Dominguez delivered a raw and heartfelt performance that resonated with audiences and critics alike, proving he could hold his own among Hollywood's elite. After Dangerous Minds, Dominguez went on to star in several other films, including City of Industry, The Taxman, and Shadow of Doubt. Each role highlighted his adaptability and hinted at a bright future in the industry. However, behind the scenes, Dominguez was quietly battling AIDS, a diagnosis he chose to keep private. In an industry where reputation could make or break careers, Dominguez wanted to be remembered for his talent rather than his illness or personal life. On August 26, 1998, he passed away at just 32 years old from respiratory failure caused by AIDS. His death came as a shock to many colleagues who were unaware of his condition. One of the most poignant moments from Dominguez's final days involved his friend and the Taxman co-star, Elizabeth Berkley. She visited him in the hospital and shared an unfinished version of his final film. Watching his performance, Dominguez was deeply moved, reportedly breaking down in tears and saying, "I'm so good, I'm so good." The moment was a heart-wrenching reminder of his immense talent and the profound loss of a life and career that ended far too soon. Willie Smith. Willie Smith was far from an ordinary fashion designer. Born in Philadelphia in 1948, he revolutionized the industry with his bold, urban approach, earning the nickname Godfather of Streetwear. Smith's path to fashion began at the Parsons School of Design, but he was expelled after engaging in a romantic relationship with a male student. Refusing to let this setback define him, Smith took on various roles in the industry before founding his own label Willie Wear in 1976. Willie Wear broke new ground by offering stylish, accessible clothing that merged elements of high fashion with casual sportswear. Smith's vision was clear: fashion should be for everyone, not just the wealthy. As he famously put it, "I don't design clothes for the Queen, but for the people who wave at her as she goes by." In 1981, Smith met Laura Barker, who became both his romantic and business partner. Together, they elevated Willie Wear to unprecedented success, with the brand generating over $25 million annually by the mid-1980s. Smith's impact reached far beyond clothing. He collaborated with artists, filmmakers, and dancers, integrating fashion into broader cultural and artistic spheres. One of his standout achievements was designing Mary Jane Watson's wedding dress for the Spider-Man comic series, a testament to his influence on pop culture. Unfortunately, Smith's groundbreaking career was tragically brief. In 1986, his partner Barker succumbed to AIDS-related cancer. Just months later, Smith's own health began to decline, and he was hospitalized with shingles and viral encephalitis, conditions often linked to AIDS. On April 17, 1987, at the age of 39, Willie Smith passed away. Although AIDS was widely believed to be the underlying cause, his company honored his wishes by not publicly addressing the specifics of his illness. Smith's legacy endures in the foundations of modern streetwear and the memories of those who admired him. Reflecting on his work, he once remarked, "Being black has a lot to do with my being a good designer. My eye will go quicker to what a pimp is wearing than to someone in a grey suit and tie." This singular perspective helped reshape the fashion world, making it more diverse, vibrant, and inclusive. Denom Elliot. Denom Elliot was the type of actor whose face you'd instantly recognize, even if his name didn't immediately ring a bell. Born in London in 1922, he built a remarkable career, appearing in over 125 films and television programs. Renowned for portraying slightly confused yet endearing characters, Elliot had a knack for stealing the spotlight from the main cast with his charm and subtle wit. His journey to acting was far from conventional. During World War II, he served in the Royal Air Force and endured 3 years as a prisoner of war. After returning home, Elliot discovered his passion for acting, finding success on both stage and screen and quickly establishing himself as one of Britain's most dependable character actors. Some of his standout roles include Marcus Brody in the Indiana Jones franchise, Coleman in Trading Places, and Mr. Emerson in A Room with a View. Elliot had a rare ability to bring depth to any scene, often relying on subtle gestures like a raised eyebrow or a perfectly timed pause. Off-screen, he was married twice and had 2 children, though he privately identified as bisexual, a fact he kept from public view for much of his life. In 1987, at the age of 65, Elliot was diagnosed with HIV. Despite his health challenges, he continued working, appearing in several projects in the late 1980s and early 1990s, such as Noble House and Toy Soldiers. His final on-screen role came in the 1992 comedy Noises Off. On October 6, 1992, Elliot passed away at his home on the Spanish island of Ibiza from AIDS-related tuberculosis at the age of 70. His passing sent ripples through the British acting community, prompting an outpouring of tributes from colleagues and fans. In honor of his immense contributions to British cinema, the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, BAFTA, created the Denom Elliot Award. This accolade, given to emerging talent, ensures that Elliot's legacy continues to inspire future generations of actors. Like this video, great. Subscribe for more. Hate it? Well, a like would be nice anyway. And let me know what went wrong in the comments. Robert Reed. Robert Reed, widely recognized for his role as Mike Brady on the iconic sitcom The Brady Bunch, lived a life far more layered than the wholesome persona he portrayed on screen. Born John Robert Reitz Jr. in 1932, his path to fame was filled with as many twists and challenges as a Brady family storyline. Reed began his acting journey on the stage, refining his skills in a variety of theatrical productions before transitioning to Hollywood in the early 1960s. He appeared in several television series before securing the role that would define his legacy as America's quintessential TV dad. As Mike Brady, Reed became the picture of fatherly wisdom, delivering heartfelt advice and smoothing over family dilemmas with warmth and charm. Yet behind the camera, Reed dealt with personal struggles that contrasted sharply with his on-screen image. In 1954, Reed married Marilyn Rosenberger, and the couple had a daughter, Karen. However, their marriage lasted only 5 years, ending in divorce. During this period, Reed confided in Marilyn about his homosexuality, a truth he chose to keep private throughout his career. In the conservative Hollywood of the 1960s, coming out as gay was seen as career-ending, and Reed feared the repercussions of living openly. While working on The Brady Bunch, Reed gained a reputation as a perfectionist, frequently clashing with the show's creators over the quality of scripts and storylines. He took his role as the patriarch seriously, extending his fatherly care to his young co-stars. Several of the Brady kids have shared fond memories of Reed taking them on outings to museums and cultural events, wanting to enrich their lives beyond the confines of the studio. In 1991, Reed was diagnosed with colon cancer, a battle that revealed another health challenge. He was also HIV positive, though the exact timeline of his diagnosis remains unclear. On May 12, 1992, at the age of 59, Reed passed away. While his death certificate cited colon cancer as the primary cause, HIV-related complications are believed to have played a significant role. News of his death shocked fans and colleagues. Florence Henderson, who played his TV wife Carol Brady, described him as a family man and said his absence would be deeply felt. The disclosure of Reed's HIV status after his passing sparked broader discussions about the stigma faced by LGBTQ+ individuals, particularly in the entertainment industry, and highlighted the culture of secrecy that often accompanied such diagnoses during his time. Reed's legacy remains not only as an actor but also as a symbol of resilience in the face of societal challenges. Ed Koch. Ed Koch, the bold and outspoken mayor of New York City from 1978 to 1989, was a polarizing figure who earned both staunch supporters and vocal critics. Famous for his catchphrase, "How am I doing?" Koch embodied the brash, unfiltered energy of 1980s New York. Born in the Bronx in 1924, his journey to the mayor's office was as dynamic as the city he led. After serving in World War II, he became a lawyer and eventually entered politics, representing New York in the U.S. House of Representatives before securing the mayoral seat in 1977. Koch assumed office during one of New York's darkest periods, grappling with a financial crisis, rampant crime, and urban decline. He's credited with revitalizing the city's finances and helping to ignite an economic turnaround. Yet his leadership during the AIDS epidemic remains a deeply divisive part of his legacy. As AIDS devastated New York's gay community in the early 1980s, Koch faced fierce criticism for what activists deemed a slow and inadequate response. Larry Kramer, a leading AIDS activist and playwright, called him an evil man who helped gay men die. These critiques were amplified by persistent rumors about Koch's sexuality. Koch never addressed these rumors publicly, insisting that his private life was not for public discussion. However, after his death in 2013, journalist and friend Charles Kaiser confirmed that Koch was gay. Kaiser explained that Koch was not self-hating, but rather a product of a generation that typically avoided openly discussing such topics. Despite the controversies, Koch's record also includes notable progressive achievements. During his time in Congress, he introduced a precursor to the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. As mayor, he implemented measures to prevent discrimination against gay people in city employment and housing. While his relationship with the LGBTQ+ community remained fraught, Koch did express regret later in life for not doing more to combat AIDS. He also pointed to his administration's increased funding for AIDS research and care as evidence of his efforts, though many activists remained unconvinced. After leaving office, Koch stayed active in public life. He wrote books, hosted a radio show, and even appeared as a judge on the People's Court. Koch passed away on February 1, 2013, at the age of 88. His legacy, marked by both significant accomplishments and contentious shortcomings, continues to provoke debate in New York City and beyond. Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn, a name that still provokes strong reactions decades after his death, was a controversial figure who left a lasting mark on mid-20th century American politics. Born in 1927 in New York City to a wealthy and politically influential Jewish family, Cohn's rise to notoriety began early in his career. He gained national attention during the 1950s as a pivotal player in the Army McCarthy hearings. At just 23 years old, Cohn became chief counsel to Senator Joseph McCarthy, playing a key role in the Red Scare. He was instrumental in prosecuting suspected communists, most famously in the trial of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, which led to their execution. However, his influence extended beyond the pursuit of communists. Cohn was also deeply involved in the Lavender Scare, a campaign to purge LGBTQ+ individuals from government positions. He helped persuade President Eisenhower to ban gay people from federal employment, claiming they were vulnerable to blackmail by foreign powers. The irony of Cohn's role in the Lavender Scare was striking to those who knew him personally. Rumors about his own sexuality followed him throughout his life, with speculation about a possible relationship with David Schein, his close consultant during the McCarthy era. Despite persistent whispers, Cohn consistently and aggressively denied being gay. Known for his abrasive and confrontational demeanor, he built a reputation as a ruthless legal operator. This combative style served him well in his later career as a private attorney, where he represented a roster of prominent clients, including Donald Trump, Rupert Murdoch, and members of organized crime families. In 1984, Cohn was diagnosed with HIV, a fact he worked tirelessly to keep hidden. Even as his health visibly declined, he maintained that he was suffering from liver cancer rather than AIDS. On August 2, 1986, Roy Cohn passed away at the age of 59, never publicly acknowledging either his HIV status or his sexuality. Andrzej Nepela. Andrzej Nepela may not be a household name today, but he was once a dominant force in the world of figure skating. Born in 1951 in Bratislava, Czechoslovakia, Nepela's journey to the top began unexpectedly when his mother brought him to an ice rink at the age of 7, in an effort to alleviate his asthma. What started as a health remedy soon transformed into a path toward greatness. Nepela's natural talent quickly emerged, and by 13 he was competing internationally, representing Czechoslovakia at the 1964 Winter Olympics in Innsbruck, Austria. Though he didn't medal at those games, his potential was undeniable, and it was only a matter of time before he made his mark on the sport. Over the following years, Nepela's skating skills improved exponentially. His graceful style and flawless footwork earned him the moniker the Ice Prince. His dedication culminated in a triumphant performance at the 1972 Winter Olympics in Sapporo, Japan, where he captured the gold medal in men's figure skating. This victory solidified his legacy and was accompanied by 3 World Championship titles and 5 European Championship wins, making him one of the most accomplished skaters of his era. Away from the ice, Nepola was known for being introverted and private. He rarely participated in interviews and kept his personal life out of the public eye. Within the skating community, there were quiet rumors about his relationships with other male skaters. But in the politically repressive climate of the Soviet bloc, being openly gay was unthinkable, and Nepola kept his sexuality hidden. After retiring from competition in 1973, Nepola transitioned to professional skating and coaching. He toured with Holiday on Ice and later moved to Germany, where he became a respected coach, sharing his expertise with a new generation of skaters. His calm demeanor and vast experience made him an invaluable mentor in the sport. Sadly, Nepola's life was cut short far too early. In 1988, at the age of 38, he began suffering from health issues and was diagnosed with cancer of the lymph nodes. Some have speculated that his condition may have been linked to AIDS, though this remains unconfirmed. On February 2, 1989, Andrzej Nepola passed away in Mannheim, Germany, leaving behind a legacy as one of figure skating's all-time greats. Brad Davis, whose striking talent and good looks once made him a Hollywood heartthrob, led a life as dramatic and challenging off-screen as the roles he portrayed on it. Born Robert Creel Davis in 1949 in Tallahassee, Florida, his childhood was shaped by hardship. His father battled alcoholism, and his parents eventually divorced, creating a turbulent home environment. Despite these early struggles, Davis discovered his passion for acting. As a teenager, he moved to New York City to study at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, where he refined his craft through off-Broadway productions. His big break came in 1978 with Midnight Express, where he portrayed Billy Hayes, an American student imprisoned in Turkey for drug smuggling. The role earned him a Golden Globe and launched him into stardom. Known for taking on bold and controversial roles, Davis further cemented his reputation in Rainer Werner Fassbinder's Querelle, where he played a sailor grappling with his sexuality. The film solidified his status as a gay icon, though speculation about Davis's own personal life often swirled. Married to Susan Bluestein for 15 years, with whom he shared a daughter, Davis's family and friends maintained that his on-screen roles were simply performances and dismissed rumors about his sexuality. Privately, Davis faced profound struggles. He battled drug and alcohol addiction for much of his life, a challenge that likely contributed to his contraction of HIV. Diagnosed with AIDS in 1985, Davis faced the disease at a time when public understanding of it was minimal and stigma was rampant. For 6 years, he concealed his diagnosis from all but his closest inner circle, continuing to act in films and television shows while undergoing experimental treatments. The combination of his secret burden and the physical toll of the disease weighed heavily on him. On September 8, 1991, at just 41 years old, Brad Davis passed away. In a decision that sparked widespread discussion, he chose to end his life through assisted suicide. His wife, Susan Bluestein, later revealed that Davis made this choice to spare his family from witnessing his decline and to avoid the shame and stigma associated with AIDS at the time. Following his death, Susan published After Midnight, The Life and Death of Brad Davis, a memoir that detailed their life together, and Davis's struggles with addiction, his illness, and the pressures of being a Hollywood star. Do you think Brad Davis was right to keep his AIDS diagnosis a secret? Comment with yes or no to weigh in on the discussion. Rudolf Nureyev. Rudolf Nureyev was not merely a dancer, he was a transformative force who reshaped the art of ballet. Born in 1938 aboard a Trans-Siberian train near Irkutsk, Siberia, Nureyev's path to becoming one of the most iconic dancers of the 20th century was as extraordinary as his talent. Raised in poverty in Soviet Russia, his early years were filled with challenges, but his love for dance became evident at an early age. He joined a folk dance group at 11 and later trained at the Vaganova Academy of Russian Ballet in Leningrad, modern-day St. Petersburg. Nureyev's remarkable talent set him apart, but it was his dramatic defection to the West in 1961 that made international headlines. While on tour with the Kirov Ballet in Paris during the Cold War, Nureyev made the life-altering decision to request asylum, a bold act with major political and personal ramifications. In the West, Nureyev's career flourished. His partnership with Dame Margot Fonteyn became legendary, with the two delivering unforgettable performances in classics like Romeo and Juliet and Swan Lake. Their chemistry and artistry captivated audiences worldwide. Beyond performance, Nureyev was determined to modernize ballet. He broke traditional norms by demanding more prominent and challenging roles for male dancers, elevating their significance in an art form long dominated by female leads. His dynamic athletic technique and magnetic stage presence reinvigorated classical ballet, drawing in younger fans and inspiring a new wave of dancers. Off the stage, Nureyev was known for his flamboyant lifestyle and complex personality. He had a deep love for antiques and owned homes across multiple countries. His personal life, often the subject of public curiosity, was marked by his openness about his relationships with men in later years. In 1983, Nureyev took on the role of director at the Paris Opera Ballet, where he continued to innovate and mentor emerging talent. However, his health began to deteriorate in the late 1980s. Even as his strength waned, he refused to slow down, devoting himself to choreography, conducting, and occasional performances. On January 6, 1993, Rudolf Nureyev passed away at the age of 54 from complications related to AIDS. His death was a profound loss to the dance community, but his revolutionary impact on ballet endures. Nureyev's contributions to the art form and his cultural legacy remain as powerful today as they were during his lifetime. Rock Hudson. Born Roy Harold Shearer Jr. in 1925, Rock Hudson became the quintessential Hollywood leading man, known for his towering 6'5" frame, rugged good looks, and magnetic screen presence. His journey from a small-town boy in Winnetka, Illinois, to one of Hollywood's most iconic stars is a classic story of transformation. Hudson's career began to soar in the 1950s, with roles in films like Magnificent Obsession and All That Heaven Allows. He quickly became a fan favorite for his versatility, shining in both romantic comedies and dramatic roles. His performance in Giant, where he starred opposite Elizabeth Taylor and James Dean, earned him an Academy Award nomination. However, with fame came the intense pressure to maintain an idealized public image. In an era when being openly gay was career-ending, Hudson went to great lengths to conceal his sexuality. In 1955, Hudson married Phyllis Gates, the secretary of his agent, Henry Wilson. This marriage, which ended after 3 years, was later revealed to be orchestrated by Wilson as a way to suppress rumors about Hudson's private life. While he presented a heterosexual image to the world, Hudson's sexuality was an open secret in Hollywood circles. He was famous for hosting extravagant pool parties at his Beverly Hills home, gatherings that became legendary within the gay community. Hudson's career thrived well into the 1960s and 70s, with him transitioning seamlessly into television. He starred in the hit series Macmillan and Wife, and later joined the cast of Dynasty, earning him a new generation of fans. However, his life took a dramatic turn in 1984 when he was diagnosed with AIDS. At first, Hudson kept his diagnosis private, even as his appearance began to change drastically. The public began to speculate about his health when he appeared frail and visibly unwell at a Dynasty press event in July 1985. Just days later, on July 25, 1985, Hudson's publicist confirmed that the actor had AIDS, making him the first major celebrity to publicly disclose the diagnosis. This revelation sent shockwaves through Hollywood and the nation, putting a high-profile face on a disease that was still shrouded in stigma and misunderstanding. In his final months, Hudson's close friends rallied around him. Doris Day, his longtime friend and Pillow Talk co-star, invited him to appear on her TV show, providing what would be his last public appearance. On October 2, 1985, Rock Hudson passed away at the age of 59. Hudson's death became a watershed moment in the fight against AIDS. His decision to go public helped to raise awareness and humanize the disease, which until then had largely been ignored or stigmatized. As actress Morgan Fairchild put it, Rock Hudson's death gave AIDS a face. His courage in his final months not only brought attention to HIV and AIDS, but also sparked crucial discussions about LGBTQ+ rights and public health. Liberace. Lazio Valentino Liberace, universally known as Liberace, was the embodiment of extravagance and theatricality. Born in 1919 in West Allis, Wisconsin, to Italian and Polish immigrant parents, his path to stardom was adorned with sequins, rhinestones, and unwavering secrecy. From a young age, Liberace displayed remarkable talent as a pianist, playing by ear at just 4 years old and tackling advanced classical compositions well beyond his years. However, it was his flair for showmanship that distinguished him and propelled him to fame. Liberace rose to prominence in the 1950s with The Liberace Show, a television program that showcased his signature style, dazzling costumes, pianos adorned with candelabras, and an irresistibly charismatic stage presence. He famously declared, "I don't give concerts, I put on a show," a statement that encapsulated his larger-than-life performances. Yet despite his flamboyant persona, Liberace vehemently denied being gay throughout his life. When rumors about his sexuality surfaced in gossip magazines, he aggressively fought back. In 1956, he sued the British tabloid Daily Mirror for libel after it implied he was gay, winning the case and testifying under oath that he was not homosexual and had never engaged in homosexual acts. Behind the public facade, however, Liberace's personal life painted a different picture. For 5 years, he lived with Scott Thorson, who served as his chauffeur and was widely believed to be his lover. Their tumultuous relationship ended in 1982 when Thorson filed a palimony lawsuit against Liberace for $113 million. The case was ultimately settled out of court for $95,000, though it drew significant media attention. As the AIDS epidemic swept through the 1980s, Liberace's health began to visibly deteriorate. He lost significant weight and appeared increasingly frail, yet he insisted his condition was due to a watermelon diet. Even as speculation grew, he continued to deny any connection to the disease. Liberace gave his final performance on November 2, 1986, at New York's Radio City Music Hall. Just months later, on February 4, 1987, he passed away at his Palm Springs home. Initially, his personal physician attributed his death to cardiac arrest caused by heart failure and subacute encephalopathy, a type of brain inflammation. However, the true cause of death was soon revealed. An autopsy conducted by Riverside County coroner Raymond Carrillo confirmed that Liberace had died of pneumonia brought on by AIDS. His death marked the end of a dazzling yet secretive life, leaving a legacy defined by his unmatched showmanship and his complicated relationship with the truth about his identity. Howard Ashman. Howard Ashman was the lyrical genius whose work defined some of Disney's most iconic songs and played a pivotal role in the studio's animation revival during the late 1980s and early 1990s. Born in Baltimore in 1950, Ashman discovered his love for musical theater early, crafting and directing productions in his parents' basement as a child. However, his path to Disney was far from linear. He first gained acclaim on Broadway, most notably with Little Shop of Horrors, a hit musical he co-created with composer Alan Menken. This partnership proved to be a perfect match and would later extend into their groundbreaking work at Disney. In 1986, Ashman and Menken joined forces with Disney to work on The Little Mermaid. The results were nothing short of revolutionary. Songs like Under the Sea and Part of Your World didn't just elevate the narrative. They became cultural touchstones. The film's success marked the start of Disney's animation renaissance and earned Ashman his first Academy Award for Best Original Song. Ashman and Menken next collaborated on Beauty and the Beast. During its production, Ashman received the devastating news that he had been diagnosed with AIDS. Despite his worsening health, he continued to work with unwavering dedication. Many of the film's songs carried layered meanings influenced by his personal struggles. For example, the Mob song, with lyrics like, "We don't like what we don't understand, in fact it scares us," served as Ashman's poignant commentary on the stigma and fear surrounding AIDS. Ashman's final Disney project was Aladdin, Although he didn't live to see it completed, he penned lyrics for key songs, including Arabian Nights and Friend Like Me, leaving his creative imprint on yet another classic. On March 14, 1991, at the age of 40, Ashman passed away from AIDS-related complication. And there you have it, proof that fame doesn't always mean a free pass. These stories remind us that choices have consequences, no matter how big your name is. But redemption is possible for those willing to face their mistakes and rebuild their lives. Which story shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark side of stardom, don't forget to like and subscribe to Iconic Inside. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment of the drama, scandals, and surprising truths we uncover. Curious about even more celebrity surprises? Check out our previous video, Top 20 Celebrities Wasted on Live TV. You won't believe some of the moments caught on camera. Just click the link on your screen now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.